Welcome to Stories by Ruchik podcast. I want you to just imagine walking into a massive, packed stadium.
Oh, like a real crowded one.
Yeah, exactly. Like 50,000 people just standing shoulder to shoulder. And everyone has a megaphone, right?
Right.
Turned up to the absolute maximum volume. But, and here's the kicker, absolutely no one brought headphones.
That sounds like an actual nightmare.
It really does. But that deafening, exhausting, chaotic noise, that is what modern society feels like right now.
Oh, absolutely.
You log onto any app, you turn on any screen, and you are immediately just hit with a wall of sound.
It is a relentless environment. And, what happens in a stadium where everyone is just screaming through a megaphone?
Nobody hears anything.
Right. The person who gets noticed isn't the one with the most profound thought. It's literally just the one who screams the loudest.
Or says the most outrageous thing.
Exactly. We've built this entire cultural infrastructure that basically incentivizes volume over value.
Which is exactly what we are exploring today. I recently read this incredibly insightful, just wonderfully witty essay titled The Extinction of Decency in the Age of Noise, written by Ruchik.
Oh, it's such a good piece.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what makes his thought leadership so compelling here is that he manages to capture that lingering exhaustion we all feel with modern internet culture.
Yeah, but without sounding preachy about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. He brings this subtle, sharp humor that just cuts right through the noise. And it hit me while reading his work that the rarest commodity in the world right now isn't gold or, lithium.
Right.
It's walking around on two legs, or rather, it's slowly vanishing from our daily interactions. We are talking about decency.
But we really have to be specific here, because he isn't just talking about, a vague, polite kind of decency.
Like holding a door open for someone.
Yeah, it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
His thesis is rooted in foundational traits, stuff like common sense, shame, respect, responsibility, humility, and integrity.
The heavy hitters.
Exactly. He argues that we have a severe shortage of decent people. Notice he doesn't say we have a shortage of talented people or loud people or informed people.
Oh, we are definitely overflowing with those.
For sure. What we lack are people who do the right thing when absolutely no one is watching and there's zero reward for it.
Okay, let's unpack this, because there is a massive chasm between being informed and being decent.
Oh, a huge gap.
If you look at how we behave today, society has completely conflated exposure with wisdom.
Right, like if someone has 1 million followers.
Yeah, or goes viral for a hot take, we subconsciously assume they possess some kind of deep insight. But the essay makes this brilliant point that we've mistaken access for understanding.
An opinion for thought.
Yes.
That distinction is so critical to understand why we all feel so burnt out right now. Having access to all the world's information on a smartphone, it doesn't mean you actually understand any of it.
No, not at all.
And firing off a reactionary take on a timeline, like 3 seconds after reading a headline, that isn't the same as actually thinking.
Because true reflection requires time.
Exactly. It requires a pause.
Yeah.
But the current cultural machinery, the algorithms, the news cycles, it punishes the pause.
It rewards speed.
Right. So everyone speaks, everyone reacts, but nobody is taking a breath to just listen.
It's the ultimate prioritization of the dunk over the dialogue.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Well, he notes that clever comebacks have completely replaced common sense.
Ah.
Like, if you can deliver a snappy, sarcastic one-liner that humiliates someone else, you win the moment.
You get the applause, you get the likes.
Exactly. But winning a momentary digital argument doesn't mean you've added an ounce of actual value to the world.
And this is really where the economic reality of the internet just warps our behavior.
Yeah.
Because of this noise, decency is now treated like a rare mineral.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, it used to just be the ordinary, uncelebrated baseline of how human beings interacted, right? But now, when decency is discovered, it's immediately mined and monetized.
Oh, wow, right. You see someone do something mildly kind on camera, like, paying for a stranger's groceries.
Yeah, and boom, it's a sponsored video with a brand deal.
Complete with the slow-motion edits and a sad piano soundtrack.
Exactly. It strips the decency of its actual meaning and just turns it into another performance.
Because if you are recording your good deed for an audience, it's not really about the person you are helping, is it?
No, it's about you. But if we are constantly performing for views, constantly yelling and reacting without reflecting what happens to our internal filter.
Well, that brings us to how we've completely rebranded common sense.
Right.
This was one of the most fascinating parts of his perspective for me. He makes this argument that common sense was never actually about raw intelligence or having a high IQ.
No, it was about proportion.
Proportion is the perfect word. It was about knowing when to stop, knowing when not to speak, and realizing that not every single thought that pops into your head deserves daylight.
There used to be an internal mechanism that said, I don't need to share this.
Yes. But look at how society treats that kind of restraint today. If you practice restraint, people totally mislabel it.
Oh, completely.
If you are quiet on a trending issue, you're accused of being complicit. If you are calm, you're accused of being boring or uninvested. Restraint is just seen as fear now.
Because we've tied our entire identity to our ability to broadcast our opinions. So if you see balance, people think you lack ambition, or you just don't care enough about whatever the cause is.
Which is wild.
It is. We are raising a generation that knows exactly how to deconstruct an argument and destroy an opponent, but has absolutely no idea how to keep a relationship intact.
Wow.
We will literally burn a bridge to the ground just to prove we were right about the structural integrity of the wood.
That is painfully accurate. We prioritize being right over being in community with each other.
Yeah.
And that ties directly into this fascinating concept of shame. Now, wait, if you're listening to this on your commute right now, your immediate thought is probably, aren't we taught that shame is inherently toxic?
Right. Modern pop psychology tells us to banish it entirely.
Yeah. Live your truth. Never apologize for who you are. So how are we distinguishing between toxic humiliation and healthy self-awareness here?
It's such a vital distinction because pop psychology has totally overcorrected. The essay isn't advocating for toxic shame.
The kind that tells you that you are fundamentally broken.
Right. Or worthless or unlovable. That is destructive. What he is talking about is shame as an inner mirror.
An inner mirror. I like that.
Yeah. It's a mechanism of healthy awareness. It's the simple, necessary ability to look at your own behavior and say, you know what, I crossed a line, I was wrong, and I owe that person an apology.
It's like the check engine light on your dashboard.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Like pop psychology tells you that the glowing red light is causing you stress, so you should just smash the dashboard and remove the bulb.
Exactly.
But you haven't fixed the engine. You've just destroyed your own warning system.
That is a phenomenal way to put it. When you smash the check engine light, you lose the ability to regulate your own behavior. Because we now treat all shame as toxic, that inner mirror is avoided at all costs.
So nobody admits fault anymore.
Never. Instead of admitting fault, every single mistake is explained away with context. We justify everything.
Right, because admitting fault feels like a threat to our identity now.
Yes, we defend every action. And he uses this brilliant, hilarious phrase for it. He says that eventually nothing is left but excuses wearing intellectual makeup.
Oh my gosh, I had to stop and write that down when I read it. Excuses wearing intellectual makeup.
It's so incredibly sharp. Just think about how often you see a public figure or even a friend mess up.
Oh, all the time.
Instead of just saying, hey, I handled that poorly, I'm sorry, they release a 4-page statement on the Notes app.
Oh, the dreaded Notes app apology.
Right. And they use heavy academic jargon, therapy speak words like holding space and my personal journey.
Basically to say that they are actually the victim of the situation.
Exactly.
It's totally weaponized therapy speak. The intellectual makeup is just a defense mechanism masquerading as enlightenment.
Yeah, it really is.
It's using big words to avoid saying the hardest 3 words in the English language, which are, I was wrong.
Right.
But if that inner mirror is broken and we refuse to feel that healthy twinge of shame that says, you shouldn't have treated that person that way, how does that warp how we interact with the rest of the world?
Well, it leads directly to the collapse of respect and responsibility.
Which makes sense.
Right. Because without that internal regulator, how we treat others becomes entirely self-serving.
Yeah.
The essay points out that respect has suffered the absolute most in this modern age, which is wildly paradoxical.
It really is, because we demand respect louder than ever before.
Oh, constantly.
We're constantly shouting about our boundaries and what we deserve from the universe. But we practice respect so selectively.
Yes. We only respect the people who agree with us or the people who have power, popularity, or money.
Exactly. If someone echoes your worldview, they are a genius deserving of ultimate respect. But the moment they deviate, even slightly, the respect just evaporates.
Because it has become entirely transactional and conditional. It's like treating respect as a streaming subscription.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. You sign up, you binge what you want from a person, you enjoy their content or their friendship.
Right.
The absolute instant there is a minor ideological inconvenience, you just cancel the subscription, I'm done with you. You block them, you ghost them.
And in doing that, we forget the quiet, less glamorous forms of respect. We forget to respect time, effort, age, labor, and privacy.
Yeah.
The author even mentions respecting silence.
Respecting silence is such a profound concept today. Like, when was the last time we respected someone's right to just be quiet?
Rarely.
If a major geopolitical event happens, there is this intense societal pressure to post a take within 24 hours.
Oh yeah, the clock is ticking.
And if you say, I don't know enough about this to speak on it, people attack you. Silence doesn't feed the algorithm, so we treat it as an offense.
And that conditional, transactional view of respect walks hand in hand with how we handle responsibility.
How so?
Well, historically, responsibility meant ownership. You owned your words, you owned your actions, and you owned the consequences of those actions.
Right.
Today, responsibility just means pointing fingers with supreme, unearned confidence.
We really do outsource the blame for absolutely everything. The essay actually lists them out.
Yeah, it does.
We blame algorithms, we blame society, we blame our childhood, our parents, our trauma, the economy. Everything is blamed, but nothing is actually held.
Yes.
And he has this great line where he says, accountability requires a spine, but spines are not trending.
It's a funny line, but it highlights a deep cultural deficit. True accountability is physically and emotionally heavy.
It's hard.
It is. It requires you to stand upright and carry the weight of your own mistakes.
Yeah.
It is so much easier to outsource that weight to a systemic issue or a past grievance.
Now, obviously, context matters here, right? Like, trauma is very real. Algorithms actually are highly manipulative and designed to hijack our attention.
Oh, absolutely. Those systemic issues are real and they definitely need to be addressed. But they cannot serve as a blanket pardon for every poor choice we make as individuals.
Right. At some point, you still have agency.
Exactly. You still click send. You still said the cruel thing. If respect is just a transaction and absolutely nothing is ever our fault because we've outsourced our responsibility.
Then what does that say about the virtues we do project to the world?
It tells us that those virtues are mostly just a performance, which brings us to the illusion of humility and integrity.
Okay, let's get into that.
The essay argues that humility has become almost invisible. Everyone is an expert now. Everyone has a masterclass to teach, a thread to post, advice to give.
But very few people are actually learning.
Exactly. We view admitting ignorance as a sign of incompetence.
Yeah.
Changing your mind, which historically was a sign of growth, neuroplasticity, and intellectual maturity.
Right, that was a good thing.
Yeah. But now it's seen as a betrayal of your tribe. If you belong to an ideological group and you say, you know what, new evidence has come to light and I've changed my stance, your group will excommunicate you.
Because in an age of noise, your identity is entirely tied to your ideology. So changing your mind literally feels like abandoning your community.
Exactly. Which raises a terrifying question. How can you possibly grow if you already think you know everything?
It can't.
No, you can't. We've traded truth for certainty. Truth requires investigation, doubt, and nuance. Certainty is just blind confidence.
And today, we definitely prefer loud confidence over honest doubt.
Oh, 100%.
I feel that in my bones every time I scroll through a feed. The louder and more certain someone is, the more they're rewarded by the algorithm.
Right.
If someone says, well, it's complicated and I have some honest doubts, they just get crushed or ignored. But then there's integrity, which the author calls the final casualty.
Yeah, he defines integrity as what you do when there is no reward, no applause, and crucially in our era, no screenshot.
Right, no receipts.
Exactly. The absence of an audience is the true ultimate test of character.
Well, okay, here's where it gets really interesting, and let me push back a bit here.
Go for it.
Because I think a lot of people might feel defensive about this. He criticizes how this generation performs goodness, saying morality is announced, values are posted, and ethics are written in bios.
Right.
But isn't putting your ethics in your bio a good starting point? Like, doesn't it at least signal to others what you stand for and help build a community of shared values? Why is that a bad thing?
Well, it's not that it's inherently evil to state your values. It can absolutely be a starting point. But the psychological danger he's highlighting is that the performance of goodness often inoculates us against the practice of goodness.
Wait, what do you mean by inoculates?
So when you announce your morality in your bio or you post the infographic on your story, your brain gets an immediate dopamine hit.
Oh, I see.
Right. You receive the social validation of being one of the good guys without having done any of the difficult, unglamorous, real-world work that those ethics actually demand. You literally get the credit up front.
Ah, so your brain feels like you've accomplished the moral act just by declaring it. You've checked the box.
Precisely. So when real life happens and your declared values clash with your actual convenience, convenience usually wins.
Because practicing integrity when it's hard doesn't give you that quick dopamine hit.
Exactly. When it costs you money or time or social standing or requires you to have an uncomfortable face-to-face conversation that doesn't get a flurry of likes.
In fact, it might get you criticized.
Right. We announce our values loudly, but we abandon them the second they become inconvenient.
That sounds incredibly bleak.
It does.
Like, if we just stopped the conversation right there, this would just be a cynical rant about how everything is terrible and humanity is doomed.
Yeah, but he doesn't stop there.
Right. He does this brilliant pivot in the essay that completely shifts the tone and saves it from being a rant. He turns the mirror entirely on himself.
This is where the piece elevates from just cultural commentary to a genuine confession. The author explicitly states that he is not exempt from this behavior.
He lives in this same noisy world.
Exactly. He fights the exact same temptations of the algorithm, and he admits that he has failed often.
It is so incredibly refreshing to hear someone say, hey, this isn't a lecture from the mountaintop. I'm in the mud with you.
It builds so much trust with the reader.
It really does. He isn't claiming to be the sole decent person left. He's acknowledging how hard the fight is. And from that place of vulnerability, he redefines what decency actually looks like today. And spoiler alert, it is not glamorous.
Not at all. Decency is not dramatic. It doesn't trend. It will never go viral. It is, by its very nature, incredibly boring.
So what does this all mean? Like, how does boring become the goal? Why should we aspire to be boring?
Because boring means it's reliable. Decency is repetitive. It means showing up on time day after day without asking for a medal.
Oh, wow.
It means keeping your promises even when you are exhausted and just don't feel like it. It's the discipline of speaking the truth without adding cruelty to it.
Right.
And the remarkable ability to disagree with someone without stripping them of their humanity.
Disagreeing without dehumanizing. That truly feels like a superpower right now.
It really does.
We've forgotten how to view people we disagree with as humans with families, fears, and hopes. And he notes that decency also means knowing when to walk away.
Knowing when staying in a toxic conversation or a job or a relationship would corrupt your soul.
Yeah, a decent person doesn't need the outrage to feel alive. They don't need the constant validation of the internet to know they did the right thing.
They make a conscious calculation to choose long-term self-respect over short-term applause. And this is the core message of his work. These foundational basics, shame, common sense, respect, integrity, they aren't extinct because they are impossible to achieve. They're extinct because they're highly inconvenient.
Inconvenience. That is the great enemy of our time. We have optimized our entire lives to avoid inconvenience.
Oh, we really have.
We want instant food, instant entertainment, instant moral superiority. But character cannot be downloaded.
No, it takes a lifetime to build.
And it is built strictly in those small, unseen, highly inconvenient decisions. Which brings me to a challenge for you, the listener.
I love a good challenge.
Think about the last 24 hours of your life. Think about a moment where you had the choice between the boring, quiet, principled route and the spicy, dramatic, loud route.
Ooh.
Did you hold back the snarky text when you had the perfect comeback loaded up? Did you pause and reflect before posting the angry comment? Choosing the boring route is the ultimate quiet rebellion in an age of noise.
It is discipline, not weakness. And that leads to his final, incredibly powerful concluding thought.
Hit me with it.
As we look at the rapid advancement of technology, the rise of artificial intelligence, and the absolute chaos of our media landscape, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking a new tool or a louder megaphone will eventually fix things.
Yeah, that tech will save us.
Right. But the author reminds us, smarter machines or louder voices will not save the future. Better humans will. Fewer, perhaps, but truer.
Better humans. Fewer, perhaps, but truer. Wow. But you know, that actually leaves me with a completely different thought to chew on.
Oh, what's that?
If true decency is really becoming extinct and the noise is just getting louder and more meaningless, does that mean that the few people who actually practice this quiet decency will eventually hold the most silent power in our society?
Wait, what do you mean by silent power?
Well, think about it. What happens when the stadium of people with megaphones finally runs out of things to yell about?
They lose their voices.
Right. Or when we all just go deaf to the noise and stop listening. When the loud people exhaust themselves, the quiet ones, the people who spent their time building actual character, maintaining real relationships, and practicing integrity.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
They are going to be the only ones left with the trust and the emotional stamina to actually rebuild anything. The performers will fade, but the decent ones will be the foundation.
That is a profound perspective. In a world completely optimized for performance, maybe the most revolutionary thing you can do is just be a reliable, quiet pillar.
Exactly.
What is one unseen decision you can make today that proves you are still building your character, rather than just building your brand?
I love that. A quiet, unseen decision to just be a truer human today. Thank you for listening to Stories by Rushik podcast. For more such podcasts, follow Stories by Rushik on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Prime Music, and YouTube.